Good afternoon. Today, a few minutes ago, in the Middle District of Alabama, a grand jury returned an 11-count indictment charging the Southern Poverty Law Center with 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit money laundering. According to the charges in the indictment, the SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred. The indictment describes this conduct in detail, but one troubling example is that the SPLC was paying a member of the leadership group that planned the Unite the Right protest in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017 that resulted in the death of 1 person and injured dozens more. This particular person being paid by the SPLC allegedly received approximately $270,000 over the course of 8 years. In total, according to the indictment, between 2014 and 2023, SPLC paid at least $3 million to 8 individuals at least. These individuals were affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, United Klans of America, National Socialist Movement, Aryan Nations Affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, Nazis, and the American Front.
Okay. Yeah, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoyim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Chahakodash. Double honors to our apostles.
Heart-stopping video shows a heroic Oklahoma
of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth, and just want to say the water to all the Akim and Akwaf. That's all here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawak, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And we are most definitely in the days of exposure, baby. Esau is being exposed, skirt being lifted up, and the Lord is really, showing this man to be who he really is, the wicked that the Bible speaks of. But it says Southern Poverty Law Center donors. I wanted to go into this one with the donors that actually donate money to this particular cause, so to speak. So you got George Soros, JPMorgan, George Clooney as nonprofit funneled millions to hate groups. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been funded by big-name businesses and philanthropists, including George Soros, JPMorgan, ex-Apple CEO Tim Cook, George Clooney. The group indicted Tuesday for allegedly funneling millions to hate groups. It says it is basically they're saying that they're funding these groups that they say that they're actually against. Now, I didn't know that they was dealing with this kind of money. It says they hold over $786 million in assets, yet still solicits donations. It says, in fact, it took in $106 million in donated cash 2024, according to its latest available financial disclosures, yet still ran urgent appeals for emergency cash. Esau, you can never have enough, man. Over the years, the donations have been made by big-name donors, many of whom pledged to the organization after clashes at a 2017 Unite the Right white supremacist rally in Virginia, which resulted in the death of 1 protester. And so they funnel shit like this. And they've been, George Soros, we already, we know that he was behind the so-called Black Lives Matter, get you Jake out there, get to acting a goddamn fool. And, in the backdrop is all about the so-called white man that's trying to incite violence or incite civil war, pretty much to just turn this bitch into turmoil anyway. And you Jake, y'all fall for it, and they've been trying to stoke, little fires, Remember when they was doing all this with Trump, you know what I'm saying? The No Kings marches and all that little stuff like that, and a couple other things, you know what I'm saying? But Jake just stayed at the crib, man, you know what I'm saying? Jake just like, fuck it, man, we through. Y'all so-called white people, go ahead and do y'all thing, you know what I'm saying? Go fight each other. You know, we're not showing up for none of that shit anymore. But anyway, it says that year, George Clooney's foundation donated $1 million. A longtime donor, JPMorgan, gave an additional $500,000 to disaster relief. Then Apple CEO Tim Cook pledged $1 million. CBS reported, and MGM said it would match employee donations. And so even the damn casino in on it. Little did those donors know, no, they probably knew, that the SPLC was allegedly sending money to one of the peoples involved in organizing the Unite the Right rally. Now, yeah, they just, we went through all that, you know what I'm saying, as far as what they were just saying. They got Chick-fil-A in on this shit. Chick-fil-A, OpenAI, the studio behind the Halo video games, also made small-scale donations. Damn, all right. A lot of people in on this, man. And, the reason why we're on their ass is because, they try to throw us into this group of hatred, Now, you got, ISUPK. They look a tad bit militant. You got, them doing all that training and shit in the parks, you know what I'm saying? Being pepper spray, wrestling and, just doing a bunch of shit, just looking like a damn military. And then you got IUIC, they marching 2,000, 3,000 strong through the streets of whatever city, looking, militant, and this, that, and the third. Instead of just teaching the gospel, man, because that's all it is about. All we have to do is just do what the Lord told us to do. Because they're going to come after us, of course, because they came after the Lord. It's no different. We're the servants of the Lord. They're going to come after us either way. But the Lord said to be, what's that? And the elders been bringing that out this week, too. Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Let me get that real quick. Because they're going to come, man. They're going to do what they're going to do. And we're starting to see a lot of prophecies play out. Let me see here. How's it worded? It's not in there. Let me try it this way. Bear with me here. It's not in there like that. All right. Okay, Con, I found it. I was missing some letters or some words. Matthew 10 and 16. Matter of fact, this is entitled A Hard Road Before Them. And it's a hard road before us, man. We had to expect. That's why the scripture says, to, count the cost. Know what we're getting into, because we know that these people are going to come through and falsely accuse us, man. When they're the ones that's doing all the fucking wickedness in the world. Here you go. This man stole this country. Killed in the millions, man, of the so-called Native American Indians. Kidnapped in the millions the so-called blacks. And just so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This man has put the Israelites through complete, pure hell here. Still have us centuries later. And then they're basically saying that we're extremists because we're calling them out on their bullshit. We're calling them out for being the wicked, for doing the wicked shit that they've done. So he's not going to stop because, he's in power. Actually, he got all the power in the world because he still has us in his hands. But they're going to have to pay for that. And when we bring out these scriptures, they be cutting the shit out of their asses. And they know that they have but a short time. But anyway, this is a perfect title. It says Hard Road Before Them, Matthew 10 and 16. Matter of fact, let me try and read it in the Amplified. It says, listen carefully. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. See that? Have no self-serving agenda. We don't have no self-serving agenda, man. We're harmless as doves when we go out there. We speak to the people, you know what I'm saying, with you know, calm voices. We bring out the scriptures. We let them know what it is, and that just is what it is. You can beat your feet up the street if you don't believe us. I mean, because overall, they're looking at us like we just some niggas anyway. So what's the big deal about us going on the highways and saying, you know, just like what you done to us is going to happen to you? You don't even have to even believe it. You just beat your feet up the street because you looking at us like, y'all just some niggas, don't know what you talking about, this, and this, you know, whatever. You don't have no power, whatever. But they know deep down that these scriptures actually cut. These scriptures cutting their asses up. That's why all we got to do is just this, you know, just bring out the scriptures. And these scriptures going to do the rest. You know, we don't have to do that extravagant. We don't need to be going and showing that you're an expert shot at the gun range and you at damn camp with weapons and shit and doing all this weird shit, man. Cause see, a lot of these Israelites, they fucking agents anyway. So the just same way that I'm pretty certain with that kind of budget that they got, they saying that these motherfuckers sitting on like $1 billion. They could easily be funding motherfuckers like these guys Genesis. That's now all of a sudden talking about, you know, I was wrong. The Lord's name is not Yahweh Shai. You know, it was Jesus. Some shit this nigga talking about. Them niggas is just pretty much overall Christians now. They could be the very ones that's funding vocab alone. It's all these camps, you know what I'm saying? Especially, well, you know, speaking amongst, you know, with GMS, Great Millstone, you know, the apostles have already said he knows that there's agents within the that have infiltrated, you know, GMS, that they're out on the highways and byways acting as if, you know what I'm saying, they're really about this truth. And some of them could be a part of the elect, you know, that will actually wake up. But a lot of these motherfuckers is law enforcement, or they're a part of some organization trying to stoke, just throw gasoline on a fire or set a fire and then throw some gasoline on it. You know, because what did they do with Yahweh Shai? They spoke ill of Yahweh Shai. Motherfuckers lied, you know what I'm saying? But that was all a part of the prophecies. That was all a part of him fulfilling what he had to fulfill for us to have the truth today. And it's going to be the same way with his servants, man. So we're not tripping on it, you know? Say, go ahead, man. Bring the shit on. Bring the shit on, man. Verse 17, it says, beware of men whose nature is to act in opposition to God, for they will hand you over to the courts and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be brought before governors and kings for my sake, as witnesses to them and to the Gentiles. But when they hand you over, do not worry about how or what you are to say, for what you are to say will be given you within that very hour. For it is not you speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. And that's what's up, man. See? And that's what's up, for real. And let me get this in Revelation, because see, they know that they have but a short time. So they're about to be, it's all kinds of shit going on right now. You know, it's so much shit going on, you can barely keep up with it. And it do sound repetitive because we repeat the same things every day, because we're just seeing the add-on to, you know, the wars, rumors of wars. We're seeing the add-on to, now these people talking about shit you need, they're going to want biometrics or possibly DNA from your ass just to have a bank account. You know, they're coming down. We know that how hard he's going with this microchip, man, because that's one of the main things he has to do. And all this shit that's going on in the world, oil prices going up, they disrupting all these different routes where, you know, people really have to survive. They crashing this shit, man. That could, you know. So when they turn shit back on, you're gonna need you a damn microchip to actually shop out here, you know. But this is Revelation 12:12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know that he had but a short time. But see, it's just beautiful, because the Lord is exposing them. That's like a token, man. 2 Thessalonians 2:3, because this has to come to pass before the coming of the Lord. This man has to be revealed. And he's being revealed on so many levels, they can't even handle the information that's coming out on them. Their credibility is trash. Don't nobody believe them no more. 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Let me start from the top, verse 1. I'll read this. Let me try this. Let's see, the Amplified. It says, now in regard to the coming of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and our gathering together to meet him, we ask you, brothers and sisters, not to be quickly unsettled or alarmed either by a so-called prophetic revelation of a spirit or message or a letter alleged to be from us, to the effects that the day of the Lord has already come. It says, let no one in any, this is the point of verse 3 here, let no one in any way deceive or entrap you, for that day will not come unless the apostasy comes first, that is the great rebellion, the abandonment of the faith by professed Christians. No, well, you know, I don't like that translation, because let me just read it in the KJV. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, or the coming of the Lord, right? Except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. The falling away first is the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, falling from their customs and their heritage and not knowing who they are. So that has already happened. But this part right here is happening right now, today, before our very eyes. And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, the man of lawlessness. That's Esau Edom. Esau became a race of people. But he has fooled the world into thinking that there's a red guy underground named the devil. You know, he's standing around this fire, this big ass lake of fire, and he's torturing people. You know, and he has pushed that image or that imagery throughout the earth for quite some time. You know, he's been using that imagery, that particular mindset imagery for, you know, hundreds of years. And people really believe that there's, you know, Lucifer. There's this red guy underground. He's got this pitchfork. He's got this little pointed tail. You know, he got the little neatly trimmed up goatee. He got the two little horns on his head. People believe that shit because he's shown it in his movies. You know, you see it in, you know, magazines and video games, and, you know, but over time, people have been terrorized into believing that this guy really exists underground, and that's not the case. That's not scriptural. That's not in the Bible nowhere. It's not in the Bible nowhere. But it's billions of people that believe that, right? So this man of sin, the son of perdition. Matter of fact, verse 4 says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." So he gave you this imaginary red guy, calling him the devil, calling him Lucifer, calling him Satan. They gave you that, but then gave you the image of them, the so-called white man, being the savior. You know, when you Google God, you see a so-called white man pop up. Generally, he's butt naked. You know, all, you know, them characters that they try and push as far as the Bible characters. When you look them up, they generally are butt naked men with little butt naked babies around them. You know, and then they gave you sweet white baby Jesus. You know, those are all idols, man. The scriptures does not describe the Lord, the Father, and the Son looking like no so-called white man. But they've done that. They've been in control of, you know, the media and things of that sort for so long. And they've pushed that on people. And it's just got people docile and stupid as hell. So when we come out on the highways and byways and actually teach the real truth for the scriptures, that is a problem to them. That actually takes down, because people starting to listen. You know, people really know now. You know, this is not just some thing that was just being, oh, them niggas is crazy. No, people really know that we are the Hebrew Israelites of the scriptures, man. They know that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they are the holy people. And they're starting to be shaken up by that. You don't even really see none of these Christians. You used to, you know, they used to stop by and walk up and try and debate and, you know, get to talking to you about John 3:16. You don't see none of them. Them people don't do shit like that no more. I'm surprised Vocab Malone's still running around out here trying to, do what he's doing, man. He'll pop up here and there every now and then, but they don't even challenge us no more. You know, really, it's rare that people even stop. You know, every now and then it'll be somebody that'll walk up and say, "Hey, what's this about?" You know, me and the Ock, when he was here last time, a few weeks back, you know, we was holding camp, and a few people pulled up and inquired. You know what I'm saying? But it's rare. People just they listen and as they're walking by. They don't generally stop anymore because the famine of the word is pretty much about there. Because everything is already planned to the point where we're almost out of here. So the Lord is gonna shut down, the minute of the Lord going on these highways and byways. It's gonna come a famine of the word eventually, and it's not. It's this. You're not gonna even hear about this no more like that. But Esau, he's still gonna come down on us because that's just a part of the prophecies. We gotta go through that part of it, man. We gotta, that's our lot. Whatever our lot is. Esau's gonna come down with great wrath because he know that he had but a short time. And they got that perpetual hatred for Jake anyway. Here you go, this man been burning crosses, this motherfucker been bombing churches, throughout he been fucking terrorizing towns, lighting fucking crosses in your fucking yard. This nigga been going hard forever. No one has been more violent on the planet than this man. But then they'll throw us into that group of people and we ain't done shit. That's crazy, bro. So I'm not gonna, take it too much further. Let's get yeah, the people of the world know who the problem is, man. And what did that one Jewish woman said? She said that the problem with Israel. Now, mind you, they over there getting bombed and shit by a whole nother country. We ain't got no damn bombs. We don't have no missiles. We don't have no military. You in a straight war, with who you calling, Houthis and Hamas and Iran and all these different people. But this bitch said that the young black men in America was a problem to Israel. Like, why? Because we're out on these highways and byways and we're teaching our people who they really are. And that's the last thing they want you to know. They don't want you to know that you're an Israelite. They don't want you to know that the Lord chose you as a peculiar people, that you're the apple of his eye, that you're a treasure to him, that he chose you out of all the nations. They don't want you to know that. They want you to stay in the situation and state that you're in so you'll continue to destroy yourselves. In the meanwhile, they're sitting on your identity. They don't want people, that's a problem. When we're telling people, no, those people over there are imposters. Those are not the real Israelites of the scriptures. See, they coming with all this anti-SEM shit. They now they got all these laws and shit, you know what I'm saying, where because they've been setting the stage, but people actually not even listening to that shit no more. They had this little synagogue situation here in Michigan here, where the guy, drove a damn truck up in the, whatever. And I saw how they was trying to push it. It was on the news, you know what I'm saying? It was newsworthy. They pushed it on the news, but I noticed how they just kept trying to push it and push it and push it and push it. And it wasn't like nobody was tuning in. It's like, soon as they see that shit on TV, motherfuckers is flicking their channel, man. They like, I don't want to hear that shit. And it wasn't getting the attention that it would normally get. You wasn't seeing no comments in the comment boards, and if you was seeing any comments in the comment boards of these news articles and shit like that, and people were shitting on them, but it wasn't even really no comments to it like that. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody did, it's just like, man, I don't want to hear that shit, because people starting to catch on and they know what's going on, man. Habakkuk 2:16, it says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory." Let me get verse 15. It says, "Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness." And this is Esau. This is what he done to us, basically. "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also." Because, see, this cup is going to be turned on them, and it's already transitioning, man. "And let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." Yep. We got Esau out here, man. He's trying to, he want to teach you about 9/11 in history classes now, but he doesn't want to teach you about slavery. He don't want to tell you about how he really got this country. He don't want to tell you about the millions and millions and millions of people that he has killed in these couple of centuries, man. He doesn't want to tell you about, you know what I'm saying, if they were to give reparations, they wouldn't have enough money to fucking give you anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because the shit would be in the hundreds of trillions, basically. And then you can't shake that blood. See, all that little talking about reparations, don't nobody want that fake ass money, bro. You gonna be the reparations. And the brother, he put up a video on that, a short on that. It was appeared to be a so-called white man, but I believe he was an Israelite the way he was kicking it. But he was basically like, shit, no, we owe those people. We owe those people. Because you done gave everybody reparations. Like right now, you get paid as a so-called black man. I'm just speaking as a so-called black man. We get paid. They take taxes out of your check. And part of your money goes to Israel, and you ain't got nothing to do with that fucking shit. We don't have nothing to do with no fucking Holocaust. We don't have nothing to do with Germany. We don't have anything to do with none of that shit. But here you go. They won't let you keep your own money to do something with it yourself. They take taxes from you and send it to these motherfuckers, man. But won't give you no reparations. They using your money after all the shit that we've been through to pay them reparations, and you had absolutely nothing to do with that shit. And that's crazy, bro. That shit is crazy. But that's them being in power over us. That's how you know that we have no power or no might, and the Lord is going to come through and get us out of this situation, man. This is what it is, man. And see, when we call truth, when we call stuff like this, it's hard on them. Because, Esau, he motherfucker ain't got no accountability. He don't want to hear nothing about him being wrong. Then they get to talking to you about, well, forget about it. It was long, that was a long time ago. In the meanwhile, he's buying ribs and shit to throw on his fucking grill to celebrate 1776. Like, nigga, that was a long time ago. Why the fuck you still celebrating that? Anyway, just wanted to touch on this for a hot sec, but they they're starting to tell on each other. Their mouths is coming up against themselves. And it's a beautiful thing, man. And we continue to pray. Continue on praying for the downfall of this place. Because, see, we're starting to see more and more. The Lord is exposing these people on a grand scale now. It's not like little shit no more. It's like, they still on Esau's ass about them Epstein files. He's still trying to, I just seen an article on that shit earlier with, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's running her mouth now. She's like, yeah, Trump told me that he didn't want to release the files because it was going to hurt his friends. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, nigga. Your wife talking shit, acting as if she ain't know this nigga. They just looking real bad right now. Looking real bad right now, bro. All these names, and it's crazy work, bro, how they just let all that shit, these motherfuckers is still out here. Just like these people right here, I don't see nobody going to jail. But it's just beautiful to see, though. You know what I'm saying? I'll accept that. I'll accept, just seeing these motherfuckers being exposed. Because we already know. I doubt if any of them go to jail. If anything, they might throw some of the small fries, under the bus. But, they ain't going after none of no big wigs or anybody like that, man. Yep. So, hey, it is what it is, man. We getting there. So just stay focused. And continue, like I said again, man, continue praying for the downfall of this man right before our very eyes, and that them curses fall on his ass in a brutal way. Because them curses is on his ass now. You know what I'm saying? That, at Deuteronomy 30:7. In fact, I can end out with that. This man is a fucking hypocrite. Jake just teaching the scriptures. And these motherfuckers want to act like, no, we're some of the most polite people to any of these nations when they walk up. We're not just out there like, you know what I'm saying, we want to beat your ass, we want to, rough your ass up. No, the men of the Lord, especially of Great Millstone, we're not out there, fucking with people like that. We just teach the scripture. We go to the scriptures. They ask their questions, whatever, we go to the scriptures. We explain to them in a simple way, hey, what's going on? If it don't make sense to them, it don't make no sense. Who cares? But we got to do the work. We still have to go out and do what we're supposed to do. Why the fuck is we slacking on their fucking feelings? You grown-ass man, grown-ass woman. If you walk up and you ask questions and you trying to direct your opinion and all this shit, then you can take what the scriptures is saying. You don't like it, beat your feet up the fucking road, man. Anyway, Deuteronomy 30:7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. We know that these people are our enemies. We know full well that they hate us, man. These people, the Lord is going to deal with them, man. All we got to do is just do the work. Calmly do the work. And again, you know, we're not, you know, exempt from going through some fucking beatings or some tough times or whatever the case may be, man, because they done it to the apostles. They done it to, you know what I'm saying, our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. So that's something to be expected, man. You know? Because Esau, you know, he's a damn coward, man. And, you know, Esau, if he ain't got no numbers and he don't have that sword, you know, he's through, man. He's through. So I'm going to end out there. Pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwame Yasha Allah and the Baba Bar.